Hi guys, and welcome to the Remain Indoors podcast, where we'll be looking at some lighter news from around the internet, having a grumble when required, and talking about the ways we're keeping ourselves entertained indoors. Remain at home. Once again, I mess up the intro. That's why I don't do this alone. I'm your host, Richard Spanners Ready, and I'm joined by Matt Two Rumpets. Did you hear that? Did you hear that shambles of an intro? I've even got the words written down in front of me.
Yes, well, I don't know what to say because I was busy being distracted by our glorious chat room yet again.
Already, you can't get distracted by the chat room the second we start. That's more of normally a 20-minute revelation.
Yeah, well, I think it's testament to the number of years we've done shows together that I almost immediately ignore whatever you're saying.
I got an email going, that Matt Trumpet is too easily distracted by the chat room, and I defended you, which was a mistake because it's true. You have displayed a lack of professionalism that is only equal to my lack of parenting skill. My latest indication that I may not have been parenting correctly is I took the kids out and about. We went to this lovely, beautiful nature spot about 10 minutes down the road. There's a spring, there's a river, there's a lake. But just as we're getting there, there's a woods to our right, a copse, I think you call it. A copse to our right. That's right, I listened in school. And then to the left, there was just this beautiful vista. Yeah, used another word that I'm not sure I used correctly. A beautiful vista of rolling hills, not even farmland, just these beautiful rolling hills and like this one big hill in particular behind me. And I said, look at this, V, to my daughter. Look how gorgeous this scenery is. And she turned to me and she went, yeah, oh my God, this is amazing. It looks like you're standing in front of a green screen background picture. And that's how she equates something's beautiful. It's so beautiful, it could be a green screen background.
Wow, it's so beautiful, it could be fake. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a new world, isn't it?
We've just spent so long now conducting ourselves over Zoom calls and working hard on our Zoom backgrounds that we get to a genuine nature spot. She's like, wow, that's like off of internet calls, that is. Yeah, so we might need to get out and about more, Matt. That's all I'm saying. Might need to just get out and about a tiny bit more.
It could be. I know you are famous for believing the outdoors is terrible and should be avoided at all costs.
No, that's not true. All I'm saying is that we spend so much time and money on the indoors that is clearly the better of the two options. If outdoors was so good, why do we spend all of our money on the indoors? Where does all your cash go? On a good sofa, on a good telly, all indoor stuff. And all I say to the wife is, hey, yeah, we can go sit in a field if you really want, but we spent all that money on indoor stuff. Like, we didn't spend any money on the outdoors, but with that couch, that cost money. We went to a whole showroom. Fortunately, in that sofa showroom, you won't believe this, caught it on a day with a discount. So it's pretty lucky.
It's very lucky, but you could always buy things like golf clubs or, bikes, hiking gear, camping. I mean, you can spend money on the outdoors if you chose to. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you should, but it is possible.
Also, I'm upset because you brought up bikes there. My kids have outgrown their bikes again. They just keep growing. It really, really annoys me. And my daughter's struggling on her little bike. And why is she struggling? I'm like, oh no, she's grown again. So I put her on the boy's bike, perfect fit, which looks gigantic. Perfect fit, and now he's not got a bike, basically, because I'm like, nah, that's hers now.
Yeah, make him run.
Yeah, he can run. He can run. Let's bring in our guest, actress, producer, movie maker, Alice Ryan. Hi, Alice. Welcome back to The Shed.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I think your section of The Shed is considerably cooler than mine. And yeah, at the moment, the outdoors is even hotter than that. So right now, definitely remain indoors, people, with your aircon.
See, that's the other reason that the outdoors is, you can't control the temperature on the outdoors. On this walk with the kids, we did spend most of our time, actually, it was delightful. There's this little stream and it's like a babbling brook going over rocks and everything. And it's all under the tree line. So that was quite cool. But walking from there to the car, even like 20 minutes, and it was just baking. And everything is more miserable when you're just walking. You've got a backpack with their flip-flops and their bags and everything. They're happy as you like. But I'm just sitting there absolutely melting. In fact, I think you can see that my face is quite red from it. And that was a couple of days ago. You're not a fan of the heat then, Alice?
I'm afraid not. I am a natural redhead. I have lots of thick, long hair, and it just doesn't do well in this heat. Very pale skin as well. So if I'm outside for 5 minutes, I've already burnt. I've already got heat rashes from, I think, just walking to the top of the road and back. Like, this is just, and it's beautiful. And yes, it does look like a gorgeous green screen out there. And I highly recommend you get outside for a bit of fresh air. Check out that real green screen that's going on. But man, just turn the temperature down somewhere, someone.
Yeah, mate.
Please.
And the thing is, though, so in our house, we've had an argument about the aircon. I've finally sort of won. Alice, what are you sending me?
Oh,
There we go. That's better. Sorry about that live stream. What was that? That looked like you were doing like one of those old Morse codes, like. Alice, you've ruined everything. You've ruined everything. So we have we have arguments in this house about getting aircon, because the general perception in the UK is, well, you don't need aircon because there's only summer like a couple of times a week. But actually, huh?
Fools. Everyone needs aircon.
No, I'm fully with you. I agree with you. But in recent years, Alice, it must have gotten worse for you because the UK has gone from that old joke of, oh, there was a sunny day, that was summer, to now it is sunny for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, several times between the course of like May and September. Like we get a half a year of boiling hot summers.
yeah, which I'm sure a lot of people are celebrating, but no, thank you. Take it back. Just a moderate heat. Just bring it down. Just a little bit, guys. Come on.
So also, like, British houses are completely designed to keep heat in. So we all live in little hot boxes.
Yeah, I'm top floor flat with very bad windows. So there's just no air difference right now if I'm sitting outside or inside. It's only when I've got the aircon cranked on my car. And I've spent years with sort of second or third hand cars, and now I've got a newer car. That's the best thing in it, I've now decided. I don't care about anything else. The aircon is amazing.
So
Yeah, you really should invest in aircon because heat is actually a bigger killer than cold indoors. So it is important to keep your environment within whatever temperature variations you can tolerate, especially on the hot end.
See, originally I would have said, no, we do only have a few hot days a year, so there's no point in investing in an aircon. But this year it's got considerably hotter. And now I'm working in the studio space that I've got. Studio space, it's my spare room that I still haven't cleared out. It's so hot in here. I definitely need some aircon. So I think for the first time ever, I might be leaning towards what Matt's saying and getting some aircon.
I mean, yeah, we've definitely gone that way here in the shed, but in the house, the wife is utterly unconvinced, and the kids are feeling the strain a little bit of the hot weather in their rooms. The upstairs is like a hot box, so I've got literally like a fan just pointing at my son's face, and we've had to suspend it on his bookshelves, and there's extension leads going down. Same with my daughter as well, and then you have to have the windows open, and it's sort of ineffective because we've got these big nighttime blinds, the blackout blinds, which help them fall asleep in the summer. But it also is really good at keeping the air from coming in. So I've got to go, right, guys, sorry about this. We're going to have, you can pick light or the ability to breathe. You can pick darkness or the ability to breathe. So yeah, it's been an uphill struggle with the wife, even to get her to agree to have fans or have additional fans. Because she just thinks, oh, you can just take it. You can just absorb it. It's only for a couple of weeks. But it's not. It goes on. It goes on forever.
And those fans are so noisy as well. Why? Why can't they make any fans that are just slightly quieter?
Yeah, and the thing is, people are saying, oh, yeah, but in insert hot country, it's way hotter. Yeah, but we're not used to it. We're not used to it. And your house, everything in, like, Australia is set up for, like, they move the beach closer to houses so that you can just jump into the sea and cool down. We don't have any of those facilities. Yeah, but the heat is it's starting to like just make people grumpy, make people demotivated. Like the thought of going for a run midday, you just can't at the moment. So I keep going. Well, I'll get up early. I'll get up super early and go for a run, but then I just don't because I'm lazy and I don't want to.
But it's been so hot recently. I was doing some filming early yesterday morning and today, and it's still really hot. So I don't know. I was looking at runners along the seafront. I don't know how they were doing it at 7 o'clock in the morning because it was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's like anything else. If you do it regularly, you acclimate to it. I'm not saying super hot is my favorite thing, but certainly as a bike racer, I always enjoyed it because I felt like it gave me a marginal advantage because there was definitely people who did much worse in the heat than I did. I tolerate it pretty well. So, you just got to kind of embrace it, really. Embrace the pain.
So that's what I do at golf. So if you and me, Matt, if you and me are going to play golf and I want to beat you, and I do, I don't know why, I'm not particularly good at golf, but if I was playing you, I would want to beat you at golf. It's the same as when we do iRacing and sim racing, Matt. It's very important to me I beat you, which is kind of dumb because I'm like a middle ranking ability person. So if you happen to be good, you'll beat me. If you happen to be poor, then I'll beat you. But for some reason, it's really important to me that I'm better than you at that. And it would be the same for golf. It would definitely be the same for golf. So I would arrange it for a cold, damp morning. I would have the first tee spot where it's still kind of dark and gloomy because for whatever reason, people get very miserable in those conditions and I don't. So I would be happily sitting there knowing I'm going to cost you 5 or 6 shots because it's wet and muggy and miserable.
Unless, of course, I happen to enjoy those conditions as well, which, frankly, if it's golf, I'll play, period.
Curse you old people and your ruggedness to different climates.
They're betting on us in the chat room already.
Oh, okay. Well, as soon as you fly over here, the first thing we'll do when you're jet lagged is we'll go and play golf. Alice, obviously a very difficult time for actors and presenters and movie makers. And although you're still doing all that stuff, I hear sad news that you have succumbed to like a grown-up actual job where you have to work.
I have attempted to be a proper adult for a change. Actually, this job is very good because it's very flexible. So I had one radio job that sadly had to disappear. That was all set up before lockdown. Thankfully, other radio jobs are going ahead in a few weeks, which is all cool and groovy. But I still need a bit of extra cash coming in. The rent can't pay itself. And so I'm now doing social media stuff for a 3D printing company.
Oh, right. See, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're brilliant bunch, but I've been thrown in at the deep end. So I've been having meetings with companies and sort of, hi, I have no idea what this is. Please tell me more with a pen and paper. Just like, okay, I'm sure I can blag this.
So you're hired on your social media and promo skills, not your ability to 3D render, say, I don't know, replicas of Thanos' glove.
No, I'm sure there is some. At 3D Philiprint where I work, I'm sure there is. They've got a lot of superhero models which look amazing. So yeah, I haven't touched anything like that at the moment. At the moment it is promotional stuff and working with companies. But the great thing is the guy who's employed me actually met me when I was doing some performing work, so understands the flexibility that I need and has seen how I can perform. And he did say be professional. So I've got proof that I can be professional, and adult. And answer the phones properly and answer emails. Might be going, all right. So, I've now had to find another adulting job, but it's flexible enough around all the creative stuff. So a huge shout out to Tim at 3D Fileprint.
Is it in an office? Are you having to go in?
No, I can do it from home at the moment. So whilst everything is still a bit with 2 meters, 1 meter, you can only talk to this person if you're standing behind them and they're not your family, but they were related to your family 5 years ago. I could just stay at home and work around it. And if I want to, I can go into the office and meet the team and see what's happening and then go from there.
I don't know. I know Matt's always been a professional musician. He knows not the land of real work. That's true, isn't it, Matt? You've never had like a grown-up job, have you? You've always done your flute or whatever.
Well, I mean, I've had any number of jobs that require me to be at particular places at particular times. I've been a bartender. I was a bike messenger. I was a bike mechanic. I did occasionally legal proofreading as a temp. I've done all kind of crazy stuff like that. But no, I've never had a proper show up to the office. It's 24/7, unless you count teaching. teaching would be maybe
No.
the only thing that came close. But even that wasn't ever a full-time teaching gig. Even though if it was full-time, it was always sort of like I had flexibility and I could do whatever I wanted, which is really, all I look for in life. I just want to do whatever I want.
Well, no, teaching doesn't count because you're still in that musician world. So it only doesn't count in the context of what I'm saying to Alice, which is having a normal proper job like I did in the office, and then having like this extra thing, which some people perceive as as different, sometimes a little bit exciting. So, you're going from like doing social media, 3D printing, and then suddenly, if people get a bit kind of, oh, you do acting, oh, you're on the radio, and you have to kind of go, yes, that's right, I do lead a secret double life.
Yeah, it has been quite fun talking to people about it. And the great thing is they've all been so supportive, and it's creative stuff. And then I happen to do social media stuff for a 3D printing company as well. So at the moment they know that being weird and creative is the first thread in my job bow.
I would love to know what to do on social media and how to do promotion. It is such a black hole in everything that me and Matt try to do with all our projects. Is like promoting ourselves properly, because even just promoting the show, I haven't done a tweet to say we're going live. And Lauren, girlrunninglate.com, Lauren Thomas, she wrote a tweet before she went on, and she went, seeing as the remaining door guys haven't bothered to even do a tweet, I'll tell you, and here's the link. And it was really passive aggressive, and I'm like, all right, fair enough. But what's the secret to social media promo? Because we just don't know what to do.
It's just a lot of hashtags, keeping Twitter to your 280 characters, I think it is. Apparently, I've been looking up online about this. Facebook and Instagram should be posting 1 to 2 posts a day for certain businesses. Twitter 14 times a day.
Oh, Matt still is above that still.
What interesting things. I retweet a lot on my own personal page on Twitter at Alice E. Ryan, but for a business, I just don't know what's safe to retweet in case I end up retweeting a competitor or something, or, 14. What 14 interesting things can you say on social media a day?
And you have to be careful that you don't retweet something that had, for example, I think an MP did this, retweeted an innocent enough tweet, but that account was regularly retweeting and tweeting anti-Semitic stuff, but all he'd seen is the account and retweeted it. And it's like, dude, why are you retweeting that guy? Oh no. Those pitfalls. 14 tweets a day. Do you find that? Do you have to be like the cheeky voice of the 3D printing company? Because I've found now a lot of brands have social media people when you can tell they've got like a fun or a comedian doing it, but it's a really serious brand. Like I don't know, Jeff's Funeral Parlor, but the guy doing the tweets is like, lols, I stan longevity of life and stuff like that. And you're like, whoa, that doesn't fit. That's weird.
Yeah, I think I'll throw in a few emojis and lots of check it out in capital letters.
Oh, no.
I'm not putting lol fam in it though. I just can't do that because it's just not me, and that would just look ridiculous.
But do you have to be the voice of the company, as it were?
Oh my goodness, I think I will. Oh no. Oh dear. What? Oh no, what have they done? If I'm the voice.
Those
but yeah, you do.
idiots.
So so it all has to look very similar as well. It's all got to look the same because everyone likes, comfort in the familiar. So it's all got to try and look the same. So yeah, there will be lots of the same sort of things, like taglines going out and then information underneath it that'll be different.
Okay, do you know what I'm going to do, Matt? Right, food, hot summer food. Alice, how are you doing food-wise? Because I know from your Instagram, your husband, sorry, I promoted him again, your potential prospective husband. I mean, he's at least got a shot of that. He's in with a shot, isn't he? He's not like a... He
does cook very, very well. And he was one of these lucky people that got furloughed during COVID.
Nice.
So I gave him the job of cooking. I said, well, you're going to do nothing for God knows how many weeks and months. And so please at least cook because you do enjoy it. So despite the mess, he makes some amazing, amazing meals.
Oh, don't get me started on that. When my wife as well, amazing meals, but we'll all be sitting there like going, oh, when you've got the big full belly and you're like, oh, right, do you know what I could really do with now? Yeah, a big long nap, and she'll say, well, I prepared this wonderful meal for you. You know, you can go and clear up. I think, well, do you know what? It's a good deal. I'm going to go get it done super quick, and then I'm going to go sit on the sofa. Go into the kitchen, and you just see this absolute explosion of pots and pans and things and flour and all that, and you go, oh, I don't know which is quicker, making it or clearing it up.
See, in normal circumstances, that's the rule. One of you cooks, one of you cleans. But as he's doing nothing and being paid to do nothing, whilst I've been scrambling around going, someone give me some work so I can pay the rent, I've just handed it all over and just try not to go into the kitchen now. So when he eventually goes back to work, I'll see what a proper state it is.
But so you and Matt are in the same position because both your spouses / families are making a lot of bread-based stuff, Matt, and bread, not necessarily what you want in this weather.
Well, no. Although I will say the baking frenzy has not abated, but my daughter, now being free of school, has stepped up her game. She made a 3-layer lemon blueberry cake for us that was exquisitely good.
Oh man!
And I was like, oh no, this is going to be she's targeting cupcakes next, I believe.
Nice.
This is going to be highly problematic over the summer. I'm going to have to up my mileage in order to maintain my trim and waifish figure.
Yeah, but I don't fancy that. I just don't. Is your partner still doing all the breads and everything? Because I can't think of anything I want less, Alice, than like, I don't know, like a spag bowl right now would make me go, no, go away. Like I just want like a lettuce leaf just moistened and then rubbed on my face, and you can just leave me alone. I've got no appetite.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I would like. But the meals that he makes are so good. You sort of look at it and go, it's just radiating all this heat and I'm hot and it's all warm. But then you start to taste it and it's so good. And he's still doing his baking. He's very, very good at baking. His whole family are, and the breads and stuff. So yeah, I have been quite pleased that all Zoom calls are from sort of the neck up. And then I do have to do some filming and didn't really think about this. So I've kind of left it a little too late to be able to shed my baking bread eating goodies weight at the moment, so they're just going to have to film me from far away.
So is it going to be quicker to lose the weight or just buy all new clothes?
Buy all new clothes.
That's the one, isn't it? You just got to
buy all
accept
new
it.
clothes.
I have, that thought has occurred to me. So I'll preface this with that I stepped on the scales this morning, and I haven't done for a couple of weeks. I've just been quietly trying to do a little bit of exercise, get out more, just refuse the biscuit tin and just refuse because, the kids are always here and they're like, it's snack time. And you're like, yay, it's snack time. What snacks are we going to have? So I've been trying to just gently avoid all that and just like, you don't want to know, don't look at the scales. So I did it this morning. I went on the scales. I'm proud to report that I am slightly less disgusting, still pretty disgusting, but less so. But one of the main reasons I didn't want to check was because the other day I had quite a bit of growth on my face. And I think it was fooling me a little bit. It was like putting a nice shiny, a nice black edge outline to my face. And I shaved it off middle of the day, came down for dinner, and my wife looked at me and went, you've had a shave. And she went, your face is so round. And I went, what? And I've got a round head anyway. Like I've generally got a round head anyway. But she was like, no, it's really round. And she was like, look at your cute round face. I was like, right, fine. That's it. I'm not eating ever again.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, your relationship is doomed. You have become the cute thing in the relationship now. There's no more visceral animal attraction left. Your wife just thinks you're cute.
I did. I'll be careful with my words, but it was a couple of days ago as well. It's more to do with the hair, right? She doesn't like the long hair, but she won't let me shave it off. So she said she'll have a go at it. But she said, right, she needs to research and learn how to do it all properly before she does it. So we've got into the situation now where she cannot stand the sight of my hair. Like I've done it for the live stream. I've just slapped it down. Won't let me shave it off. Won't cut it at the moment till she's done the research. So I suggested to her that I might be available. Talking about being all like sexy and that. I was all like, oh, I might be available later for some husband-wife relations, if you know what I mean. And she just looked at me. I could tell her eyeline was looking at my hair. And she went, have you seen you? And walked out. I just walked out. Yeah. Absolutely shocking.
I showed that to my wife the other day. I expressed my deep, sincere love for her, and she literally replied to me, "That's just because A, we still have relations, and B, I cook for you." And I was thinking, well,
Yeah, I mean,
I kill bugs and get things off tall shelves. I mean, I think we have a
So-
working model here.
Yeah.
but
If
yes.
it works for you guys, it works for you.
So whilst I'm fighting back, this was my point, Alice. While I'm sort of trying to fight back now against being disgustingly fat, I did kind of have the thought that it's like, well, I mean, I'm 40. She's not going to leave me. She's emotionally invested, especially with the little ones. So I don't think she could be bothered to find anyone else. I could just get fat now. I think like 40, I could be a middle-aged guy. I could just be a fat middle-aged guy. I could just do it, Matt. Why not?
Indeed, why you could let yourself go. Most husbands do at some point in the relationship. Mike Schiller is suggesting that this should be the name of the year, COVID 2020. Have you seen you?
Have you seen you?
I would buy that T-shirt. That's brilliant.
Yeah, have you seen you? Yeah, but so well, I'm saying I was trying to sort of empathise with you, Alice. We're not. There's a lot of us in that. There's a lot of us in that boat. I'm sure it will abate once your gourmet chef goes back to work.
Oh yeah, because then I'll have to cook for myself, and then I'll open the fridge, and I'll be like, "Well, I don't," and then just close it again. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do when he goes back to work because I'm not a very good cook myself. And then the poor chap, when he comes back from work, he's going to have to deal with my cooking. Poor guy. But COVID, I was like, some things have got to just be let go in COVID. And so we've snacked to make ourselves feel better. And that's okay. We can start being healthy. Next week we'll start being better. I hadn't lost it in time for the filming. That's my own fault. Baggier costume will be needed and demanding that the cameraman stands at a certain angle. That's fine.
Exactly. And important to go, I'm going to need to see those rushes before they go out.
Yeah.
I need to
Camera adds at least 40 to 50 pounds, not this 10 pound rubbish. It just reminding everyone.
So my kids have gotten into the stage now where they're more than happy to snap a picture and then send it to their nan or something like that, or share it on something or email it to someone. And I'm like, guys, I get full, what do you call it, editorial...
editorial rights.
Yeah, I get full editorial rights on any images you send out, and if you reveal the true horror of my dissatisfaction with my own physical form, that does not get sent. All right, I am over 35. I get the opportunity to stick my chin out and stretch my chins out before any photo, and also get the opportunity to breathe in and or cuddle a cushion, and that is not negotiable. But as long as there's no continuity, though, I'm not suggesting you've put on so much that it would seem like a different character. But there's no continuity issue, is there? It wasn't like a before COVID and after COVID.
Thank goodness. Otherwise, there would be a lot of panic. There would be a lot of panic right now. And it's okay. It's okay for you to have just got a bit comfortable during COVID. You can just go back to sorting yourself out afterwards, guys. That's what we're saying. Enjoy your food. Enjoy your good food. Even if it's really hot. In the hot weather, like the spag bowl, if it's well cooked,
and
have an ice cream afterwards.
Nobody's asking you how much you're drinking. It's like in the olden days when you couldn't ask a woman her age or weight. In COVID 2020, you don't ask anybody how much they're drinking. All right, it's just we're not talking about that. Speaking of drinking, though, it's such a hot day today. I went onto Amazon Prime. I used the Now thing where they like deliver it that day. So no longer, I mean, gosh, I was already clicking Prime. I won't order anything. If they don't deliver it the next day or the next working day, I go, and I look somewhere else because I don't want to wait. I've lost all patience. I remember as a kid, you'd do your cereal packet, you'd collect 8 tokens, send it off, and within 6 weeks, you'd get a really rubbish toy. I wouldn't dream of doing that now. If it's not here tomorrow, I don't care. And then I discovered this Prime Now service where you can get it the same day. The world has finally come to me, Matt. I all my life, I've been told, no, you need to be more patient. It's like, no, I just had to wait 20 years and the world has come to me.
So you did have to be patient in order to get what you wanted.
Yeah, I had to wait 20 years. I had to be patient to have a world where you don't need patience. There we go. Right. On that, though, I ordered some summer beers. You know what I mean? There's some summer beers that you can have in the cold temperature because as the lockdown restrictions ease off, I have had a socially distant beer with a friend. In fact, with two friends in a public space. So I don't know how legal that is. But let's start with yours, Alice. You had your first socially distant meeting. How weird was that?
It was very weird, and it was a birthday and Father's Day, so we were at sister-in-law's garden, which was huge. It was about 7 times the size of her actual property. So if we were uncomfortable, we could easily just move, and we'd be miles away from each other. But I think it's just it's the small stuff, isn't it? It's normally you'd pass people drinks, so the British politeness has gone straight out the window now, because you can't pass people things. You have to sort of leave it all on a table, or you have to, oh, thank you very much for that gift, spray that down like it's contaminated, which was really weird. And normally you would go and get certain members of the family their drinks for them whilst they stay put because they're not very well, or, you know, various things, leg problems or whatever else. And we couldn't do it. Everyone had to get their own stuff, which was very weird. But it was good to be outside and sit in a garden. I don't have a garden here. So you've got this lovely, glorious, all right, it's a bit hot and sweaty weather, but I don't have a garden, haven't sat in a garden properly, all COVID. So that was really nice. So thank you very much to everyone who hosted and made that thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyable.
But the problem is, like, did you have any alcoholic beverages whilst doing that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. But the thing is, people can get a little bit slack. And I've seen people posting photos where they're like, oh, at the beginning of the night, they've posted, oh, so nice to have a socially distant drink. Now we're allowed to do it. And then by the end of the night, they're posting photos where they're like hugging and like on their shoulders and stuff.
No, I think for us, it got worse. So we're having more drinks and then we'd be staggering away from people like, no, you stay there. You got to stay there. No, I can't pass that to you, can I? Because we're not. So it was really funny. We just went the other way with it and didn't get any closer to everyone. We just moved further away.
Oh, well, the bit where I think that I may have done something not entirely legal is there's still some law about not having an open alcohol container in public. And I don't know if that's like some weird ancient law or something that just helps people police the town centres. But we have some woods nearby, and it has a bench, and it's a huge bench, actually. So the 3 of us were able to sit on this bench quite happily, socially distantly. So at least 2 meters away. We had our own cooler bag. So I had 5 beers. So the whole night cost me $5. And we had like hand sanitizer in case we wanted to like touch stuff. But, you know, we could sit and happily talk. And we were like, well, actually, hang on a minute. What were we really missing by being in the pub? The opportunity to listen to somebody's poorly selected music. I don't know. We really didn't miss anything apart from the fact that when it got to about 9:30, it suddenly got really dark. So we were just sitting in these woods in the dark, drinking beer I felt like a teenager, Alice. It was like a hark back to the olden days.
Yes. Yeah. When it got dark, we were all just sort of still outside. And then it's when you start packing things up, you suddenly realise everyone suddenly forgot we've got flashlights on our phones now. So we're just sort of looking around going, oh, no, we should have done this before. What were we doing? But yeah, it was really, really nice. If everyone can do it sensibly, take flashlights when it gets dark. Yeah, definitely have a nice drink outside with your friends, 2 meters apart.
So it's not nearly as much fun, but I actually have my first socially distant concert coming up next week.
Ah, right. In that case, that leads us to a little bit of Big Dirty News. This is a reasonable thing to bring us towards the end of the show. I've looked, I think this has been reported in a few places, but this is theweek.co.uk. Andrew Lloyd Webber says that the government has suggested having musicals but without singing. And I believe the idea is, Matt, that that's a stupid idea. But I think there's some conception that instruments are somehow safer, but singing isn't safer. What the hell is going on?
First of all, we call those plays. Thank you very much. Yeah. That's the obvious response.
Well, it's not a musical, is it? Yeah.
Second thing is, if you think about how you create sound on an instrument, well, you blow a highly compressed stream of air at an extremely high velocity into a tube for pretty much every instrument that's not a string instrument. And so I don't think that's going to be any safer than singing. But the issue with putting the musicals back on is not so much the permanent people there, but it's going to be your audience sitting packed close to each other in poorly ventilated theaters, and with faulty and malfunctioning HVAC systems, just to make it even more fun. I mean, it seems like to me that's where the real problem is going to be. But yeah, it's a dumb idea.
Alice, can you see any kind of light in the tunnel? We're criticizing that alleged government suggestion. Is there any way? Can you play devil's advocate in any way?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Maybe outdoor theatre, because you can be more spaced out. You could have people further apart, so the performers could be further apart. You could then have speakers. You could then be outdoors, and then it's down to the families themselves to regulate how close they're sitting to each other. Maybe. Don't know how you feel about that, Matt.
Yeah, but unless it's the kind of production that happens for free in a parking lot or a park or down on the shore, you're going to have people who are dressing. You're going to have people who do quick changes. You got the whole backstage element that you can't run the show and the wardrobe and remain socially distant. It's just not going to be possible. So it's going to be like, we talked about with Formula One, or they're already talking about with like TV, because I know my wife's been to some meetings where they're going to create like little pods. So the actor has a little pod of support people, and then they never switch throughout the entirety of the whole show. But that also requires rethinking how the entire show runs backstage. And if you're in a Broadway theater, or even over there, the theater backstages are even worse because they were all built in like the 17th century or whatever. You just can't maintain the distance you need to, according to current regulations.
Yeah, because you're not just thinking, quite rightly, Matt, about the audience, you're thinking about the performers as well. And I want theatre to come back ASAP. I want all forms of the arts to be able to continue, but maybe right now, for people's safety, it's okay for it to just be closed for a time. And maybe next year, once everything is so much clearer, it is just safer to just do that. And there are plenty of people with huge amounts of millions of pounds that they're sitting on that they could easily put some cash into theatres and back into performances to help them start back up again, and they'll get their money back easily.
Well, if you don't, then there's not going to be anything there for you when you do want to go back and enjoy it. And, come next spring, there's a lot of positive talk about not only, effective vaccines being available, but also, companies now, and I only caught the tail end of this report, but there are companies now who are taking prospective COVID vaccines and mass producing them in case the trials work out. So everybody's so invested in this, and they've got all the mass production lined up that there's going to be like 5 or 6 vaccines ready to distribute to everyone, waiting to find out which one actually works and which one is effective. So come spring, we could all be vaccinated. This will all be just a strange dream, and they'll go, brilliant, I am now off to the theater with all my chums. And it's shut down because people like Matt's wife have had to go off and be accountants and wig makers instead of professional costume designers. But Matt, you are getting back on the road a little bit. Tell me about this socially distant thing you're doing. What is it you do? You're a drummer, right? Matt, drummer.
I will literally never forgive you for calling me a drummer.
Are you insulting drummers? Because there's some in the chat room. I mean, it is the easiest instrument, isn't it? Like that is it even an instrument?
My brother played drums, so I really have no choice here.
Okay.
So what happens is I get an email. I've been playing with a classical chamber group, a brass quartet, for over 25 years. We started in the early 90s. Came out of graduate school. And we don't do a lot of concerts, maybe 1 or 2 a year, but we did them every year, and we would occasionally do more stuff. And I just got an email, and last year we did a July 4th concert down at Toms River, New Jersey, as the Garden State Philharmonic Brass, not as our own brand. And they have decided this year for July 4th, they would like to do this again, but they're going to do it at an outdoor venue. And it's just the 4 of us playing because it's a quartet, and the audience will be distant, and there's enough room for us to be distant from each other on the stage. So we're like, yeah, sure, why not? Sounds reasonable enough. Sounds fairly low risk. Plus, I actually get to earn money playing the trumpet again. And after being excited about this, I realized that this was terrible because now I have to actually practice my trumpet and get ready for a performance instead of iRacing and, eating all the bread that my wife bakes.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the long-term plan is to be a professional trumpet player. So in your apartment, though, you are in an apartment, aren't you? You're above your landlord.
Correct.
Are you got people either side as well, or are you like a duplex?
No, it's one per floor. So we're top floor. There's a middle floor, and then the landlord's on the bottom floor.
Okay, is it detached then either side as well, or?
Detached.
Oh, that's slightly better. Do you get complaints when you practice your trumpet? Because even when you put that little baffler thing on, it's still blinking loud.
Yeah. So here's a funny but true story.
Oh.
Well, okay. Here's a true story. I have only ever in my life received one noise complaint for practicing, and it was this first year that I lived in New York. I had an audition the next day, and I'd come back. And the rule at the time was very clear. 10 a.m., 10 p.m., you're allowed to practice. That was just, everyone lived with this rule. And so it's like 9:30 and I'm just finishing up, getting ready. And bang, 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 there's this banging on my door. And this guy is screaming at the top of his lungs at me in a French accent, no less. How dare you practice, you blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I'm taken aback. I'm like, I don't even know what to say. And as I'm standing there, the door across the hall opens, and this woman who is a cello player at school opens the door and says, "You have no flippin' right to be yelling at him because every night you drop your stupid blinking boots on the floor and make noise, and I've asked you 1,000 times to stop, you dumb mother flippin' blinking."
Thank you.
Yeah. She let him have it, and he went away shamed. That was the only complaint that ever happened. Usually when I ask people, does it bother you? They're like, no, actually, I really enjoy listening to you. So go figure.
I think it would be different in Britain. I think we're a little bit more like I've said before, when we were sat in a cafe with my kids and wife, and you whipped your trumpet out, not a euphemism, thankfully. You whipped it out and you went, "Boo, boo, 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 boo," and it was really good. But I was mortified. I was like, that's not very British, just whipping your trumpet out and playing it very loudly in a cafe on the South. It was the South Bank, though. So I guess you can kind of get away with it on the South Bank, Alice, can't you? Because there's all sorts of weird stuff going on.
It would be weird if you didn't just whip out a trumpet and start your own mini musical thing going on the South Bank. So that concert sounds amazing, Matt. I'm so jealous that you're getting a chance to do that.
Yeah, it was a fun gig last year. It's going to be great to see people in real life and make some actual music, because that's the part I've missed most, is just sitting down with my friends and making music, honestly.
I can't wait till you're too busy to actually challenge me at iRacing. So yes, anything that cuts down your sim racing practice, that's good for me. And by coincidence, I have tried to tell my wife that Remain Indoors is now doubled in length, so that after the show I can just sit in here and get a few laps in. It's a shed. I've got aircon now. There's no reason to leave. A little disposable plastic bottle, and I'm good. I'm good to go. Alice, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the shed as always. You made mention of this project that you've had to buy brand new clothes for. I'm sure it's not as bad as you're making out. But what is it? I mean, is it something that we can go stalk?
Yes, it is indeed. This is How to Survive the End of the World. It's an indie feature film. We've got all of the regulations through. We will be filming mainly outdoors. There will be very, very limited crew. All of the actors have been made aware of everything, and everyone's going to be filming 2 meters apart with sort of sneaky camera trickery, or, actors are working from the same household. So it's all very safe. And because it was written before all of this happened, and set mainly outdoors anyway. So when we were sending out emails about producing this feature film, we did have to put in brackets, no, we're not making this up. Like we did genuinely create this. So yes, this is a James Wilshere feature film, his third one. And we'll be working on it over the next few weeks in a safe environment across Essex.
I love how, Essex represent. I love how everybody feels the need to, I forget you're an Essex girl as well. Southend. I forget that everybody's always kind of saying in a socially distant and responsible way. Like, you can't say anything now without specifically stating, And I've tried to like ban it when I'm on the radio show as well. Like, I've said like, let's just assume that everyone's doing everything in a socially responsible and physical distancing way, because it adds about 10 minutes to every show over. Well, you know, we've got this gardening group together where we abide to all the social distancing rules and stay 2 meters. Like, no, I don't care. I'm just going to assume you do. And if you don't, that is on you at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, we know. But we've ended up sending out about 3 or 4 different emails saying that over and over and over again, and then repeating at the bottom, we're really sorry to keep sending this out. We just want to make sure that everyone is aware that everything is happening and everything's going to be safe and you're all going to be cool. It's okay.
Yeah, though the other day I opened this gate, after which I then did hand sanitizer and then I washed my hands for 20 seconds. It's okay, we get it. Alice, also worth reminding you, you know, if you're ever short of a pretty face and a voice, you know, I will
get in contact with Matt. Gosh. No worries. I've got him on Twitter. It's fine. It's okay.
Feels like you're deliberately misunderstanding me at this point. That's what it feels like. Alice E. Ryan on Twitter, correct?
Correct,
and on Instagram as well.
Here we go. It's at _Alice Ryan _ Sorry for the underscores, guys. Sorry.
Just that is. I'd rather you were a murderer than have underscores in your handle. It's ridiculous. Matt Trumpets. I don't actually know what are you up to. Like, what are you plugging apart from that outdoor thing and stuff? What else are you doing? Anything? Are you doing anything at all of note?
I have some online lessons I teach. You know,
my
daughter's learning calculus.
Hang on, Matt. Could you use more online students, or is that like a thing? Like you've got enough online students?
No, I have barely any. I could use tons more students.
Matt, sorry if this is obvious, but like we have an extant audience. Why don't you simply advertise on there for people who want to give their children music lessons online? You could have literally anyone in the world. We have an international podcast that goes out at times to 35,000 people. Why have you never mentioned this and just get a bunch of students that way?
Well, because like the whole online lesson thing is kind of new, and the school where I was teaching online just wrapped up. They were going to do like a summer program, but then that fell through. And so I just wound up with a couple of students. But yeah, you know, if you want to learn how to play the trumpet, yeah, get in touch. No worries.
That's your man.
MattPT55@gmail.com. You only do trumpet. You don't do any other, because like lots of music tech lessons are like.
All right. So I will be honest with you. If you or your child has never played an instrument, I could start you on violin, viola, cello, trombone, French horn, or trumpet.
You're the worst salesman ever.
But after a year or two, or piano for that matter, but after a year or two, well, I don't know about piano. That would be complicated. I have to think about that. Technically, I could, but that normally involves having a piano in front of the camera. That would be challenging in my... Anyway, you get the idea. Basically, I can play most instruments to a beginner intermediate level that I have just mentioned.
You only have to be one lesson ahead of the kid, don't you? So
yeah, basically that's the rule. But after that time, you really do benefit from studying with someone who's mastered and made a specialty of that instrument, because there's lots of tiny little details and knowledge that you need to make progress. So I don't want to oversell my ability to do this, but yeah, I did teach beginning strings. I did teach beginning brass for 20-ish years. I kind of know what I'm doing.
Matt PT at 50.
So humble.
I know, isn't he? Matt PT 55@gmail.com, right? And see, Tom in the chat room, Spanners has no shame about advertising his services, but all three of us here will know that like you have to, don't you? You can't sit there and go, oh, it's fine. I mean, I do some voice acting, but it's fine. You know, I am available for, you know, acting jobs even in real life. You know, you have to just say it out loud because no one else is going to do it for you. That I'm available for acting jobs. No one else is going to say that for you. You have to say it out loud. Hire me, richardreddy.com. Find out what I can bring to your brand. Good. There we go. Yeah, got to do all that. MattPT55 on Twitter as well. You can follow me at Spanners Ready or the show at Indoors Remain. We'll catch you again on Tuesday. Until then, work hard, be kind, and have fun. Also, I don't know, maybe remain indoors a bit, just a bit, you know, just until there's no longer a global pandemic. I'm not saying never, just, you know, a bit.